Hello and welcome. My name is Zaffar Iqbal and you are watching The Mojo Story. A day after Congress leader Rahul Gandhi said that India is a country of Hindus and not Hindutva-vadis, and that Hindutva-vadis need to be ousted from the power, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Uttar Pradesh today to inaugurate the first phase of Kashi Vishwanath Corridor. Prime Minister Modi offered prayers at uh, at the Kal Bhairav temple and took a holy dip in the Ganga. Now, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has said that the inauguration of Kashi Vishwanath Corridor is a rejuvenation of the Indian pride. Now, Prime Minister Modi didn't reply to Rahul Gandhi. In fact, he spoke to the seers there. He talked about Vikas and Virasat. He focused on development. He did mention about Ram Temple, but at the same time, he spoke about medical college in every district of India to speak more about the politics of Uttar Pradesh ahead of the important elections in that state. We're joined by an eminent panel. We're joined by Vandana Singh of the Samajwadi Party. We're joined by Amitabh Tiwari, who's a political analyst. Uh, we're also joined by Arati Jerath, who's a senior journalist. And we are joined by Anila Singh, who is from the BJP. Uh, now, uh, if I can go to the BJP spokesperson first, uh, why is it that BJP is playing the Modi card? Remember the fact that Prime Minister has spent one third of the time in the last 1 month in Uttar Pradesh. So precisely, he's becoming the face of the build-up to the campaign and to the elections in UP.
My Ram Ram to everyone. And I think it should be left on Narendra Modi ji and Bharatiya Janata Party that how much time he has to spend in Uttar Pradesh or elsewhere. Nobody else has got this right to dictate the terms that how he has to make his program, where he has to visit, how much time he has to give, what projects he has to launch, what he has to do. So definitely we know one thing very well, that he is one prime minister which our great country has got, who has done so much for our country on all fronts that today India has become a global face. And we are very, very proud of him. And today is a historical day for our country. And especially if I talk about Mahadev Bhaks, each and every Hindu feels very, very proud. The corridor which has been made, or the renovation which has been done in Baba Kashi Vishwanath's temple, that is so good. That is so good. It is beyond words to express. So definitely, if you talk about Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, you cannot say that he has become the face of UP's election. You cannot compare, or I will say there is no leader in today's date in India which we can compare with Narendra Modi ji. So he is our senior most leader. He is definitely star of our political party, and we are so proud that we have a leader like Narendra Modi ji. So when he has to guide Bharatiya Janata Party as a senior most leadership, he does that. When he has to act as a prime minister, he does that work as well. So I think we should leave that how he has to conduct himself on him only.
No, what I meant to say is that almost 8 years in power, Prime Minister Modi is still the main face of the BJP when it comes to elections anywhere in the country particularly in UP.
Um, See, if we talk about Uttar Pradesh, I will say one thing: एक योगी सब पर भारी है. But yes, we are very, very lucky to have a leader like Narendra Modi ji, and he is the senior most leadership of our party. So when, as I mentioned earlier, we should leave it on our party, Bharatiya Janata Party, that whenever we require him, we request him, and how he gives his time to the party, it is upon him. But he is not somehow he is not cutting his time from the duties of prime minister. So yes, we are very, very proud of him, and definitely wherever elections are there, he will be coming. He will be doing rallies also. We have such
Yes.
leader. No other political party has, then it is their misfortune.
Vandana Singh, Samajwadi Party has been saying that it basically conceptualized this entire project, and BJP has now completed it. Today, there was also a tweet by Akhilesh Yadav. What do you have to say?
The sanctity of Varanasi has never been questioned by any government, even if you go
Yeah.
in the past, for that matter, British or the Mughals before that.
Hmm.
Banaras is Banaras. It's in our heart and mind. Mr. Modi is our prime minister first. His responsibility is towards the country as a prime minister. And when the country is facing so many challenges, given the COVID is spreading again, what has happened in South Africa and other part of the world, I think Mr. Modi has to prepare for the challenges what country is going to face again when the COVID spreads, and it's spreading rapidly. So just to say that Mr. Modi went there as a BJP leader, Mr. Modi is BJP leader later. Now he is the prime minister of our country. So he has to prepare for the worst scenario. We have to prepare for the hospitals so we do not face the similar situations what we have faced in the past. And Banaras will remain Banaras. There is no question about discussing Banaras. Banaras is very close in our heart to everyone, not only Hindus, Muslims, everyone. Anybody coming to India, first is Banaras. Banaras is the most ancient city in our country. So there is no dispute on that.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, breaking something in Banaras and rebuilding, I don't know. Banaras is famous for its gullies, its puri kachoris, its churis. That's all we have grown up seeing that.
Arti
And
Jerath,
nobody is
obviously,
challenging that.
one cannot miss that it's perhaps being done with an eye on the upcoming elections. According respect to the Hindu places of worship just ahead of the elections. If you can
Believe
unmute, yeah,
can you hear me?
yes, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I think very clearly the BJP has decided to play the Hindu card in UP. Although the Prime Minister talks of development, and the last time he went to Banaras, also he talked of development he talked about inaugurating medical colleges and this and that. But the symbolism of what happened today cannot be missed. And I
Yeah,
think, that symbolism has gone out loud and clear that this is an election that is going to be fought on Hindu religious motives.
mm,
And it is very interesting. I want to go back to a point that you made earlier, about Modi being the face of the BJP campaign in UP. Modi makes himself the face of every campaign that the BJP runs for every election, whether
yeah,
it's a parliamentary poll or it's a state assembly poll. So he is simply following that pattern. But I think the BJP spokesperson said that he's not neglecting his
yeah,
duties as prime
yeah,
minister while
yeah,
he is doing all this campaigning in UP. I
mm,
certainly hope not, because I remember earlier this year when the assembly elections happened in West Bengal, and the prime minister made himself the face of the BJP campaign in West Bengal. That was the time when COVID was
yeah,
spreading like wildfire, killing thousands of people. There was a terrible shortage of oxygen,
yeah,
hospital beds. I mean, it was a great tragedy. But unfortunately, all our political leaders were busy in elections, especially, the prime minister. And I think that there was a lot of neglect at that time to the affairs of state, to, looking at what was happening as COVID spread all over. And I just hope that, given the fact that now we've discovered this
yeah,
Omicron, and
yeah.
Omicron seems to be spreading, I just hope that next year in February, March, April, we do not have a repetition of what we saw at that same period this year.
Yes, the with the eruption of Omicron variant, the third wave seems to be just around the corner at our doorstep, and we have seen those visuals of the second wave. So obviously, everybody remembers that. But Amitabh Tiwari, do you think that more than a development corridor, it's also a political corridor from where the power flows?
Yes, it is. I mean, Modi ji represents the Varanasi constituency as an MP. And if you remember, in 2014, he decided to contest from two constituencies, one from Gujarat and one from UP. And that sort of created a wave in favor of the BJP in the entire Hindi heartland. And that trend sort of continued in 2017.
Yeah.
So, on your point of Modi spending almost one third of his time in the last month in UP, I would put an interesting fact here is that any candidate who gets votes, almost one third of the votes which he receives is on account of the leadership, one third on account of the party symbol, and one third on the account of the local candidate, which is himself.
Yeah.
So strategically, BJP is positioning Modi, which is its tallest leader, to go and woo or rather seek votes for the party. See, different voters need to have a different sort of messaging. One, of course, is Hindutva. So Kashi has a religious connotation, and there are people in UP who would be willing to vote to for BJP on the basis of Hindutva. But Hindutva is not the only plank on which the election is being fought by BJP. There is also development. So we have had projects like the expressway inauguration, the fertilizer plant in Gorakhpur. So it is also sending the message of development for voters, especially young voters who are aspirational and you probably want UP to develop as other states. So the messaging is different for different kind of voters, and that is where BJP perhaps leads vis-a-vis other parties because it does not treat the entire state or the region with a specific message. So the messaging is tailored to the kind of voters which are present in different sort of geographies. And what is they are also seeing that the Samajwadi Party is gaining some momentum. Akhilesh Yadav is catching up on the leadership ratings versus Yogi Adityanath. So Modi perhaps also realizes that Yogi Adityanath ji there needs some support and some leg up, and that is where it is now becoming Modi plus Yogi versus Akhilesh. So it's
Okay.
two versus one sort of a package which BJP is trying to present and lure the voters there.
So Modi plus Yogi against Akhilesh. Anila Singh, Prime Minister Modi also referred to Lal Topi. Do you think that Samajwadi Party is the biggest challenge for the BJP in UP?
See, in today's date, if we talk about UP's election, then definitely, if we talk about opposition, Samajwadi Party um, is emerging as a major opposition party. So you can say this thing that is Samajwadi Party the major challenge for Bharatiya Janata Party? My response to this question will be each and every political party is a challenge for us. We do not underestimate any political party, whether its size is small or its size is big, because when that political party is contesting, so the candidate from that political party is standing against us. So we take it as a challenge, and in that way only we fight, and we fight to win because we are in politics and we are here to fight elections and to win elections. So let us see that UP is going to vote for the development plus respect to all religion or for the appeasement. So I'm pretty sure as Uttar Pradesh has stood with us in 14, 17 and 19, it is going to stand with us in 2022 also. I can say guarantee as there is a slogan of Samajwadi Party 22 में आएगी bicycle, but I say 22 में bicycle बन जाएगी tricycle. So
22 में बन जाएगी bicycle, tricycle. Vandana Singh, what do you have to say? Obviously, if we say that the Prime Minister referred to Lal Topis, there's also this fact that Akhilesh Yadav brought up Jinnah along with Gandhi and Patel in his Gorakhpur rally.
Zaffar ji, time will tell. There's only 3 months to go for the elections, and
Yeah.
we will see who the public chooses. It's up to the Uttar Pradesh public. They will decide whether they want to change, vote for the change, or they want to remain with the same government. That is their choice. Secondly, Prime Minister saying something like that, it doesn't go down very well. Mr. Modi, as a BJP leader, saying something like that is all right, it's acceptable. Not Prime Minister. That's not acceptable. Jinnah and Ganna, there is no need to bring all this in every time they address people or every time they talk about it. It's the resources of public which is going in all these meetings or events. It happened same at the Jerath report. It happened same thing. Okay, the Kashi Vishwanath. It's the government
Arti,
resources which is going here. Why talk
yes.
about Ganna and Jinnah?
Arti Jerath, why talk about Ganna and Jinnah? Obviously, is it because that different messages are being sent across in different areas? Obviously, when the opposition raises the issue of Jinnah, it's been countered with Ganna, and at some other places, there's a different message being put out by the BJP.
Yeah, but of course, I think every political party has a different message for different constituencies. But I think there is no escaping the underlying message or the overlying message of the BJP's campaign in UP,
Yeah.
which is very, very clearly a campaign layered with Hindu symbols, layered with the religious card. I mean, I think that is very, very clear. And as we get into the campaign, when the heat starts building, like we saw last time in 2017, things get quite divisive and very polarized. And I'm sure that, the same thing is going to happen now. Right now, we're starting off with development and medical colleges and so on and so forth. But, remember, the campaign is still, some months away. So, as we get into the thick of the campaign, this thing is bound to turn, very divisive and polarized. And between Modi and Yogi, I mean, I think Yogi will do a lot of the polarization, but so will Modi. And this is unfortunately, I mean, I really don't know what the BJP has to sell in UP besides, the Hindu card. Because, I mean, 5 years of Yogi's governance record, maybe other panelists won't agree, but 5 years of Yogi's governance record have been quite poor. We have seen all kinds of fake encounters. We have seen the crime rate. I don't know, I mean, crimes have been quite rampant. We have seen a kind of Thakurvad domination of the bureaucracy and, the whole sort of social thing. We have seen atrocities on Dalits rising, So and certainly when COVID happened, we saw the way the Yogi administration handled it. It was really, really bad when all those bodies started floating out of the Ganges, and we saw those sort of dead bodies. We saw the mass fires in open fields. So, I mean, I'm afraid they don't have very much to sell in UP except the Hindu card, that we are now building the Ram temple. We have done the Kashi Vishwanath, sort of corridor, and we are going to, sort of also get back the mosque in Mathura and for the Krishna Janambhoomi.
Yeah.
I think that campaign has also started. We had no less than the Deputy Chief Minister of UP
Yeah.
talking about it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's very clear which route the BJP is going down.
The Deputy Chief Minister tweet is up. It says that Ayodhya Kashi Grand Temple construction continues. Mathura is ready. But before we get the BJP spokesperson, Arti, it's also the Congress which has taken the same path. Remember the statement by Rahul Gandhi yesterday. If we can bring up that statement.
देश की राजनीति में आज दो शब्दों की टक्कर है, अलग शब्दों की। इनके मतलब अलग हैं। एक शब्द हिंदू, दूसरा शब्द हिंदुत्ववादी। ये एक चीज नहीं है, ये दो अलग शब्द हैं और इनका मतलब बिल्कुल अलग है। मैं हिंदू हूं मगर हिंदुत्ववादी नहीं हूं। ये सब हिंदू हैं मगर हिंदुत्ववादी नहीं है।
Amitabh Tiwari, what do you think Rahul Gandhi made this statement?
I mean, see, Congress has been trying to adopt this soft Hindutva approach for a long time now. Because what BJP has clearly done, and I speak to a lot of leaders across parties and spokespersons, is that it has forced you or forced parties that they cannot do anti-Hindu politics now for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
But what happens is that when you are making such statements, you are also, it's like foreign teams coming to play cricket in India and we prepare spinning tracks for them, correct? So once you start adopting or playing soft Hindutva, you actually are playing on a pitch which is favored to suit the BJP kind of politics. See, yesterday's rally was about price rise.
Yeah.
I don't know how this strategy of Congress is working when there is such a burning issue and you have a whole rally or a ralla of inflation against inflation.
Yeah.
You are bringing points which do not really uh, resonate with the whole campaign you have in mind. So this, I mean, this, of course, a lot of people turned up, and Rahul might have thought that this is a place to make this distinction very clear. But first of all, it is a very confusing distinction. People may not simply understand what he is trying to say, and it could take months and years for people to try to understand it. So the targeted approach of the opposition is clearly missing, and you are playing on a turf which actually suits the BJP, and there is where the entire strategy is being misled.
Well, Anila Singh, you heard Arti and you heard Amitabh. What do you say?
See, there is nothing to say what they have said. I mean, it is absolutely futile exercise to react on them. They have a mindset which is anti-Hindu, I will say. And perhaps when we talk about Hindu, they must understand the definition which was given or the verdict or the statement which was given by Supreme Court in 66, in 76, and in 1995. And yet, if they do not want to understand that, then that is their problem, not mine. But one thing I can say that whatever Rahul Gandhi ji says or his leaders or spokesperson, and the same way if I talk about Samajwadi Party, whatever Akhilesh says or his spokespersons or leaders says, the more they attack on Hindu thing, whether we talk about Baba Vishwanath, whether we talk about Ram Lala Mandir or whatever, or we talk about Mathura, more they attack on us, more exposed they get in front of the eyes of people living in a great country or pan world, I'll say, who are Sanatanis or who have faith in our God and goddesses. So let us, as I was listening to Arti, perhaps I mean, I think she must. I believe that she is a very knowledgeable person. So I don't know why she's talking about like this. कोई काम नहीं है 5 साल में हाथ पे हाथ रख कर बैठे हुए थे. Perhaps you do not know. You have not done your homework properly. And same, I was listening to Samajwadi Party's spokesperson here कि वाराणसी तो गलियों के लिए जाना जाता है, चाट पकौड़ी के लिए जाना जाता है. बिल्कुल, वाराणसी जाना जाता है चाट पकौड़ी गलियों के लिए. आप जाइए वंदना जी, आप गलियों में भी घूमिए, चाट पकौड़ी, कचौड़ी और जलेबी और वहां की लस्सी भी बिल्कुल पीजिए जाकर. But this we are talking about corridor. See, Mr. Iqbal, I will say one thing here very loud and clear. अगर आप मुझसे पूछते हैं, आप भारतीय जनता पार्टी की स्पोक्सपर्सन है, आर यू अ प्राउड हिंदू? यस, आई एम अ प्राउड हिंदू. Are you a proud Sanatani? Yes, I am a proud Sanatani. Do you believe in New India? Yes, I believe in New India. And I believe all the initiatives taken by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and in Uttar Pradesh, my state, by Yogi Adityanath ji. There are n number of works which has been done, development works done in Uttar Pradesh. And this is the reason, after 14, there were so many evil-minded people who wanted very bad for Bharatiya Janata Party. But, we came back. We came back in 17, we came back in 19, and we are going to come back in 22 with thumping majority. जितना इनको हमारे हिंदू देवी देवताओं को गाली देना है, जितना उल्टा सीधा बोलना है, बोलिए. पर जो
वंदना सिंह,
जो जनता है, जिससे जनतंत्र बनता है, जिससे लोकतंत्र बनता है,
वंदना सिंह,
भारतीय जनता पार्टी में Mrs. Singh, whatever you say,
let Vandana respond.
What I am saying, I am saying the truth. आपके नेता अखिलेश यादव जी का mindset is
Hinduism.
I think Mr. Iqbal asked me, Mrs. Singh, Mr. Iqbal asked me. Let me tell you one more thing here, Mr. Iqbal.
Let Vandana complete, then obviously I'll come back to you.
One thing here, that Samajwadi Party's two topmost leadership.
Can I finish
Yeah.
my
Mr.
sentence?
Mulayam Singh Yadav, he advocated for a terrorist who was involved in Varanasi bomb blast.
Anila Singh, let Vandana put across her point.
Let me expose them. These people, they have got such evil mind.
You are
for
not
our
the only
religion,
one here to
just
speak.
because of war.
All of us
Okay,
have a
okay.
right to speak here.
Okay.
And
India has got threat from
we
such
don't
people.
need your
Not from a
advice.
terrorist, but such
do
people who are
not
sitting
need
right
your
now on
advice.
See, we don't want to make
all
it
have a
a
right
contest
to
between
listen.
BJP and Samajwadi Party. Let me
is for all of us. I just want to say one thing, Zaffarji. Have you read Mr. Rajnath Singh's statement? Mr. Rajnath Singh has said, partition of India on religious lines was a historic mistake. That's Mr. Rajnath Singh and a BJP leader. And that speaks something, his statesmanship. So I don't think I need to go down to that road, Hindu or proving myself Hindutva or anything. No. We don't need to prove this to anyone.
Okay.
Rajnath Singh has said it all. That's all I'd like to say here.
You wanted to come in, but obviously we're going to...
That moment has passed, but I just want to say one thing, that I think Anila Singh has taken the debate quite off track into some other direction, because nobody was insulting Hindu gods and goddesses on the show. Nobody was insulting Hindus on the show. And sorry, the BJP is not the sole custodian of Hinduism or of Hindus. So I'm sorry, Anila Singh, you better do your homework and you better learn to debate properly when you come on these shows, because do not take it off into a direction which it never went.
Okay. Maybe Amitabh, you would want to say something, that now that you're speaking about the soft Hindutva, we see perhaps more of that in the coming days as the countdown for the election begins.
Wherever the minority population is higher than the state average, you will see politics of polarization. And that is not only by BJP, but it will also be played by secular parties or so-called secular parties who would try to consolidate the minority vote bank and hope that the Hindu vote gets divided on caste lines. See, the Jinnah comment by Akhilesh was not just a comment made in jest. It's properly thought out strategic statement made because there is a fear in Samajwadi Party rank and leadership that the rise of the Congress through Priyanka Gandhi's rallies and the entry of AIMIM could weaken the hold of Samajwadi Party on the minority vote bank and could damage its prospects. One thing also
Yes.
I I I want to make a point here is that voters are of the country are very smart. Let's not debate or assume things that they will fall in the trap laid by the political parties on polarization. BJP might feel that polarization could help the party's prospects in UP, but I tell you, for incumbent governments, if you see the track record of state governments and the results, the performance of the government is the main criteria for the voter. Wherever BJP has not performed, it has lost elections. Whether it is Jharkhand, whether it is Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, sorry, not Maharashtra, MP, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan. So, performance of the government will play a key role. But what it does is that when BJP plays this politics or give this sort of messaging, the opposition falls into this trap and converts the election or helps them to convert the election on a polarized platform rather than speaking on issues on the ground, rather than talking about the track record of the government. And that is where BJP probably succeeds, is currently succeeding.
But last word to you, Vandana. Obviously, I'll have to wrap up this show. Quickly, if you can make your point.
Yes, Zaffarji, I just wanted to say something in a lighter note to Arati ji. Arati ji, please don't hammer Thakurs in UP. They have got no special treatment from Yogi Adityanath ji. His bureaucracy is surrounded by Brahmins, so please don't hammer the Thakurs out there. Everyone is equal, and UP is for all. We will see the report card at the end who has done what. And
his
people
police
would
is
decide
full
on the
of
report
thakkurs.
card who to vote.
Vandana, I'm surprised you're saying this. I suppose you're a thakur yourself.
It doesn't matter whether I'm a thakur, but I just wanted to say, don't hammer us.
I'm not hammering you. I'm not hammering you.
One can
Just giving
safely.
a report card, Yogi Adityanath's rule of 5
Look,
years.
the report cards
This
are
has been
there.
quite bad.
And the people
But anyway, I think Amitabh Tiwari made the right point. Let the voters decide.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
voters
Yeah.
are very, very
I think that is a good point to end.
They will decide to vote on issues that are important to them, whatever political parties they try to
Absolutely. People will decide on issues which are important to them. That's a good point to end this discussion. Thanks so much to all our panelists for joining us. Thanks for watching. That's all we have in today's show.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.